just come the names, you can write them later, so we
Yeah.
can move on.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
We got a quorum, okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Actually, there needs to be a slight addition to the agenda.
Okay, what is it?
We need to, talk about becoming a certified third-party voter register.
Right.
Because I do not know if anybody has noticed, but we started having, supplying both voter registration forms and, absentee ballot forms. So if anyone needs to update their, signature, their address, so on and so
Well, we
forth.
can address that because there are some other entities to that.
Well, we'll put that as number 8 on the agenda under new business then.
Mr. Chair, since we have a crowd here, another group of people and they weren't, I heard somebody ask for an agenda early and I don't think there was one. I would ask that the agenda be read by the secretary, so people are aware of what.
Yes. Go
I
ahead.
can do that right now. So obviously we have called the order, the invocation, the pledge of allegiance, the roll call, then we establish quorum. There is the chance to approve the agenda, in which Tyler added something. We have public comments on non-agenda items, which will be next. Any kind of public hearing, we don't currently have one. A guest speaker in Linda Doggett, I believe.
Yes.
We have the secretary report, which will be by me, and we'll be making sure that the minutes for last time are correct. We have the treasurer's report with Bob Saul. We have any first vice president reports, which will be right here. Second vice president reports with Mr. Yo, Mr. Mo, and then we have new business, several things here, some changes, possible additions. So any possible terminations will be talked about during new business, any nominations. We have some Harns Marsh Middle Resource Fair conversation here, and some nominations off the floor as well. Talking about the fire department and as well as the ARB's retail auto parts store. Then we have old business with MSU, One Blood, and conversation about candidate events. After that, we would have public comments on the agenda itself, member comments, any announcements, which are things like people shouldn't forget their shirts. We have a blood drive on January 11th, right? We have friends of the council who can sign up to support the council. And we have, also everybody should know that nominations after this meeting are closed. No real topics for the next meeting, and then adjournment. That would be the whole agenda.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right, we'll move on to, so we got as amended. Are you,
I'm in concurrence with that, so.
okay, you're gonna second the agenda as amended?
Just so moved.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Bob? Oh, aye. Okay. All right, so the agenda is approved as amended. So then, George, we need to, since our guest speaker's not here yet, we'll move on. And do you wanna give us the secretary report?
Alrighty, so the secretary report will be the minutes from last time. I don't know if you want me to read them over.
No.
I motion that we approve the minutes as circulated.
Can I get a
I
second?
voted for myself.
Second.
Second, all in favor of approving the minutes? Aye. All opposed? Okay. The treasurer's report,
Bob.
we sent it around.
$1.7 million.
What, really? So we lost money?
Mr. Chair, as the treasurer's report had been circulated by email,
Right.
I move to approve that
Can I get a second?
or an audit.
And Bill? And Bill seconded. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report as written?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, now, first president's report would be Tyler.
Okay, so adopt a road cleanup. I would like anybody here to help me pick out a date for the next cleanup. I'm planning on doing it later this month or next month. So let's pick a date, shall we?
I I say you do it in December after all the snowbirds are down.
You sure?
Yeah, you get more help then. I mean, our population almost doubles down here.
That's fair. How is December 14th sound?
If you have a date, some dates, throw them out there and we'll go along.
Does anybody else have an opposing date?
14 sounds good to me.
Okay.
Did you find a projected area?
We have our
Well,
we have our road.
allotted
No
line
problem.
from
Our
Sunshine
road.
Elementary from First Street to 12th Street.
Yeah, our road that we adopted. Anything else, Tyler?
The incorporation, we won't be having any more public meetings until January.
Okay.
I have a guest speaker with me.
Oh, good. And,
Sorry I'm late, I was driving around the parking lot trying to figure out where to park.
Continue with the meeting.
Yeah, well, you know, I thought being that was the best idea, so.
Yeah. Tyler, go ahead and continue with the meeting because, you know.
well, not that big a hurry.
No, but.
Go ahead.
So there won't be any more incorporation meetings for the rest of this calendar year. We'll be starting up in the first of the year. If anybody in this audience is interested in incorporation, which is making Lehigh Acres a city, look up Lehigh Inc. on Facebook.
Okay, is that it, Tyler?
That is it for right now.
Okay, well, we're gonna go in between the first vice president and the second vice president's report. We're gonna have our guest speaker, Ms. Linda Doggett, is that how you say it?
Yes, sir.
From the Lee County Clerk of Courts, and thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
And we are very interested in hearing what you got to say.
Cool.
So you have the floor.
Oh, I have the floor. Oh, great. Well, thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. Some of you guys have an important agenda. So, I'm just honored to be here, so thank you very much. As you probably know, I'm your elected clerk of the circuit court. I'll just stand up a little bit.
Excuse me, Lindsay.
Linda, you can come over here.
We'll come in the middle.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
That's all right. That's no problem. I can just stand if that's good.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
So, anyway, I'm your elected clerk of Lee County, and I just want to share a little bit with you about what the clerk's office does, and just let you know what kind of services we provide, and just maybe have a dialogue with you if you'd like to see what kind of things you think we could do to help you more out here in Lehigh. So, you probably all are aware, most of our main office is downtown. And as your clerk, we do lots of different things. We're, I think, 4 different business areas if you think about it. We are your chief financial officer for Lee County government. So Lee County government, all the roads, all the development, all the stuff that Lee County government does, they're close to 3,000 employees now. We are your chief financial officer, so we pay all the bills for Lee County. So everything gets submitted, every contract that they have with someone, every bill that they submit for payment, we pay those bills. All the tax money comes in to the tax collector's office, to the clerk, to invest that money. We do the investments, we manage the bank accounts, we produce the financial statements. So we're your financial officer, all of that kind of stuff. We don't do budget, the county is your budget officer, but we keep the books, we keep the records, we keep the money, we manage the money, and we pay all the bills, we do payroll, we pre-audit everything, so all that kind of stuff that goes with finance. And then along those lines, we are also auditors, so we audit, per the Constitution of the Florida Constitution, we audit county funds. So for us, we have an internal audit office, and that office then does audits the county departments for fraud, waste, and abuse in terms of the funds and how those funds are spent. So if you see anything that you look suspicious, you can call. We have a hotline. Everything that we have, that we do, by the way, is on our website, leeclark.org. And I didn't bring these little brochures, but you can figure that out. I mean, leeclark.org is pretty simple, right? So all of it, everything is there. You know, if if you want to see audits of county departments, if you want to call us, we have a hotline, it's anonymous, you can report things related to the county. We do have, our responsibility does end at the county. We don't really have authority to audit cities or other constitutional offices or the school board. We can audit them if they request our services, and we'll usually charge them for those services, and we have done that occasionally, but for the most part, our responsibility is to audit Lee County government. So those are two things. We're the financial officer, we're the auditor, and we are the public records keeper. So all your official records are online with our office, and you file, with our office any kind of mortgages and deeds, any kind of transfer of property. All those property records are online. You can look them up. You can print out what you need. You can order certified copies online if you want. We try to do as many services online because driving downtown can be a real pain, right? It can be kind of far. And so, so that is all online as well. And then in addition to that, we of course are the clerk of the court, so we are responsible for all the court cases in the county. So we keep everything that goes to a judge, that goes into the court system, has to come through the clerk's office. So that's our role, is we keep those records, everything is filed with us, we process those records. We are the collection arm of the court, so to file a new case with us, you pay a filing fee. We collect that filing fee and distribute it out to mostly to the state. And we also collect criminal fines and traffic fines and toll violations. So recently we had was mandated by the legislature. We had an Operation Greenlight. So we had a lot of people come to us where we waived the late fees, the collection agency fees, and our job was to try to get people's driver's licenses back to them who had driver's licenses suspended, mostly for not paying fines, right? So it's kind of a endless loop of the whole traffic fine thing. But so we actually reinstated probably over 500 driver's licenses. We waived a ton of fees. We didn't waive them personally. We waived the late fees, but we had judges there who were waiving a lot of toll violations. Toll violations are a real problem in Lee County. I know you don't have tolls in Lehigh, but if you work in Cape Coral or if you go over those bridges for any reason and you go through those toll booths, tolls are a big problem with a lot of people. A lot of people run the tolls because they don't have gates, so they just run through those toll bridges and don't stop or don't have a little transponder, don't pay the fines, ignore their letters. And so after the toll department, I guess, of the county, Leeway, tries to collect, and if they're unable to collect after a couple of months, they send them to us. And by the time we get it, a $2 toll is about over $200. So lots of people will run tolls, 30, 40, 50 times, and finally they'll come in and we'll say, oh, you owe us like $30,000, and they'll say, what? I can't pay you $30,000. So it's a real problem, and it's not just a couple of people. I mean, this is a lot of people who use those bridges. So it's a big problem. It's not a problem here unless, like I said, you work there and you drive over those bridges every day. So anyway, it is a problem. It is something that I am trying to work with the county to stop sending us toll violations, because they technically they by statute can use a collection agency, but I cannot get them to do that. And I keep saying to them, if you give them to us by statute, when people don't pay their fines, we have to submit them to have a driver's license suspension, and that is an excessive consequence for a toll, right? It's ridiculous. So come on, it's a $2 toll, you're suspending somebody's driver's license, it's crazy. So we just need to stop the madness here. So I'm trying to get them to move on that process, and they keep kind of dragging their feet. They're trying to decide whether they should switch over from leeway to the state, what is it, SunPass, you know, anyway, government, you know, you just move slow as, you know, anything. It's like watching him drive. So, so anyway, so much fun, but I'm trying to like change that process so that it's better, you know, it's just better for everybody involved. Like, we don't need to process tolls, we don't need tolls to go through the court system. Do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. You said the clerk of courts controls the budgets, correct? While you don't hold the money, you do run the numbers.
Right, we keep the financial.
So,
books.
could you talk about the general fund and the unincorporated fund?
I could look some stuff up for you, I'm not sure right now what the
Okay.
general fund looks like. But, you know, all those numbers are on the website, if you wanted to look them up. I'd be glad to help you do that, or send you some information on it.
That would be
What is
great.
your specific question?
I'm just wondering how much, of the tax money that comes from Lehigh goes into the general fund versus the unincorporated fund? And, of course, that includes the
Yeah.
things that, like the taxes for having utilities and internet providers, things like that.
Okay.
Franchise taxes.
Okay, so the taxes come through the tax collector's office, so they may have some numbers
Okay.
on where the tax dollars come from. And by the time it gets to the clerk's office, we just get dollars.
Okay.
So we don't really know the
Locations
source of
or-
those dollars necessarily.
Yeah, they just pay the bills.
And then we take that money and then the county decides how they wanna spend that money, and that's where we start auditing them and paying those bills. If
Okay.
they're good, if they're decent bills, so I would start with the tax collector, and if there's something I can help you with in that area, I'd be glad to see what I can dig up for you.
You take care of jury duty too, don't you?
Jury duty as well, as your clerk, we also call people in for jury duty, thank you. How many of you do I get?
How do we get out of it?
Well, you can be 70. You can be 70 years old, or you can actually go on and line and or call us and get moved, you know, not suspended, but
Hey,
postponed to
I lived
a
there
different
6
day.
months and they called me up.
Good.
Yeah, and I
Needed
got
you.
this, and it was a good system, cause it was like a number,
Yeah.
and thank God my number didn't get called.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was,
Jury service is fun.
No, it's not.
We call a lot of people in for juries because basically the process is the court tells us how many trials they have scheduled. I think it's like 6 weeks out. And then we actually call enough jurors for those trials. They tell us how many jurors they want. For example, if it's a felony trial and it's well-known felony trial, you know, if it's had a lot of publicity, they'll have us call, 70 jurors sometimes or more. Because they want to be able to pick a jury, and they start asking you questions like, how much do you already know about this? And if you already are aware of it, then, they might not want you on that trial, on that jury. So, we call in a lot of jurors, but when you call us ahead of time, with your number, or you go online, it'll tell you whether you actually show up, because most of those trials, most of those trials will settle before the day of trial. The attorneys will get together and come up with a settlement agreement, so then there will not be a jury trial. So that's why you get a number, and that's why if it's a high number, you may not have to pick that. The tax collector sells certificates for 2 years. So if somebody doesn't pay their taxes the first year, that tax collector will put those dollars in what they call a tax certificate, and they'll sell those tax certificates, and what you're bidding on is an interest rate. So they basically want you're underbidding, so they're looking for the person who's willing to take the least amount of interest on the tax certificate and then take that money. So the tax collector gets their money, and then you hold the certificate and you earn interest on that tax certificate. And they'll do that for 2 years in a row. And then if you hold a certificate, you can ask the clerk to sell that property, and then we will actually perform the sale of the property, and we'll sell it for all the back taxes and all that interest that is owed, and whatever else is owed on the property property sells, then you'll get your money that you invested plus your interest back. So those tax deed, they're called tax deed sales, and they are actually online. They're online sales, so you can go online and bid. And what you'll want to do is put some money in an account. So you have to do that, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ahead of time. The money has to have cleared. If you write a check to or do a credit card, it has to be guaranteed funds. So do that ahead of time. The money's sitting in the account, and then you can look at the property, look at the sale, see when it's coming up, and you can actually bid online. But what you'll want to do is what they call proxy bidding. So you'll look at the property and you'll say, I'm not going to pay more than $1,200 for this property. So that will be your maximum bid. The bidding will start at whatever the value, whatever is owed on that property. And then if somebody else is bidding against you, it'll keep increasing the bid by, I can't remember, I think it's $50.
It's $100 per.
Yeah.
Every time it's $100.
Is it 100? I thought it was 50.
It's $100.
$100?
Been doing it for a long time.
That's what man knows. So anyway, it'll just increase your bid every time until everybody else quits bidding, and then if it's still, if you reach your $1,200 and somebody keeps bidding, then you'll just stop bidding. It'll basically stop you there. But if it doesn't ever give it up that high, you'll get it for whatever it sells for, whatever it stops at.
There's a lot of that going on out here.
Did I get that right?
You got it perfectly. And it's on the site. It's really
It's pretty
They
easy.
really explain it well for everybody to look. In fact, all the things that you guys have had on that site is really like, I call them idiot proof.
It's
They're
very
simple.
Yeah, it's really easy to do, but there are a lot of risks when you buy tax deed property because you never know. You have to really do a lot of research. There could be other liens on that property that you will then have to pay off those liens when you get that property. So there's a lot of things to be aware of, and we say on there, really do your research. Look and make sure there's no other liens, no other property owners, no other complications, legal factors, things that tie things up that you'll end up with. Sometimes you can end up with a mess, but probably, I don't know.
Company to do a research for you sometimes.
There you go. Title companies that's the value of that. So, and sometimes they just sell, like if it's a condo or something, they're really just selling the HOA fees or whatever, right? The lien on that, which is very strange. I don't know how they do that, but you just really need to know what you're doing out there. So we'll talk about, we're talking about property. I could talk a little bit about the fact that we have something, if you own property, something that you might want to do is register for that property fraud alert. I have little cards over here in my purse for that. I can pass out.
Oh, did I? Oh. Is this one yours?
This is mine.
Wow.
It goes well with your outfit though, so you can borrow it, but. So it's really easy to register, but the value of the property fraud alert.
He carries a smaller bag.
Is it smaller?
Yeah.
I'm jealous. So I just have these little cards, and it just basically tells you to go online and to go online and just register your name and anything that's recorded in the official records. With your name on it, you'll get an email, and it'll tell you that something was recorded with your name on it. What happens with property fraud is that it really starts in the real estate side of the situation. People will look around and they'll see property that is vacant, and they'll actually list other people's property with a real estate agent. If a real estate agent doesn't catch it, they can list your property, and then if they get enough personal information about you, they can actually sell it. That property oftentimes gets sold, and so by the time it hits my office is when the deeds are recorded, and that changes property ownership. So sometimes people lose property right out from under them. They're not even aware that that's happening. So the real estate agents, I know, are a lot of them, probably most of them, are taking extra steps to make sure that they mail letters to people who actually own the property on the property appraiser's website. so that they're trying to make people aware, hey, did you list your property? Was that you that listed your property? Because it's up for sale and you might want to know about it. You know, some of these people intercept the transfer of dollars from these property sales with email and say, hey, by the way, I want you to send my money over here into this bank instead, you know, just because I changed banks or something. So there's a lot of fraud out there, but this is just one way that if it gets this far and property documents that change title of property get recorded, you'll know about right away. And the sooner you know about it, the sooner you can get that corrected. It's a little bit easier, and you can probably catch the bad guys when you do that. So that's what these little cards are. Again, it's very easy. Just go on the website, put your name and your email address in, and they'll send you stuff if you're interested in doing that. So that was a free service that we got with our software, so we try to make people aware of it. Just to let you know about it. Other things you want to hear about? Do you want me to talk about parties?
You know,
Go ahead.
since these people live in Lehigh,
Yes.
and, you know, people tend to come to this community and commit crime against us. You wanna talk a little bit about, like, the website, like, as long as they have like a police report and that person's name and their information, they can follow and track them online,
great
the
idea.
court dates, the
Yeah.
different court dates.
That's
So,
great.
you know, yeah, so I was hoping you could
Yeah.
kinda touch on that with the
Great,
community.
absolutely. So, public records are a great tool for people, and I talk about this usually always. So I kind of skipped over it today. So you can go online, like I was just talking about your property records. You can go online and look at property records. You can find, something I do is if somebody moves in next to you or somebody in your neighborhood and, you know, you wanna know a little bit more about that person. Say there's suspicious activity, you just are really nervous and you just kinda wanna know a little bit more about them. You can find out who owns the property by going to the property appraiser's website and just typing in the address. Then you have the person's name, you can go to the clerk's website and look up court cases, you can look up criminal records. It's not a complete criminal background check, but it is a list of cases that are filed in Lee County, that can be, you know, it'll show you everything from traffic tickets to felony cases. It'll also show you any civil cases. I often encourage people to look up, you know, if you have any situation, if you're contracting with somebody, if you have a new doctor, if you wanna just see if they've ever been, if they have, you know, a list of lawsuits, you know, as long as your arm or something, you might wanna be a little bit cautious about doing business or going to a specific doctor. So I always, you know, tell people, use your public records to your advantage. Know a little bit about people you're dealing with, people you're trusting your home to, people who, you know, your daughter has a date with. I have daughters, so I've done that. But, you know, it's just, it is something that is of value about public records. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why Florida is what we call a sunshine state, where records are out in the sunshine. They're your records, they're public records. So anything that we hold, we're supposed to make available to you. Now, along those same lines, those records have your personal information on them. So let's say you own property and you've recorded a mortgage. Your personal information is on that document. So people can look you up if they're trying to do harm, you know, like identity theft, for example. So we are required to protect certain parts of the information that are in those records. We have to redact or black out social security numbers, bank account numbers, credit card numbers, you know, any of those type of identifiers. If you are a law enforcement, you would be in a protected class of people. So Florida Statute 119 has a whole long list of people who are in this protected class. People in the health industry, law enforcement, judges, public servants of all different walks of life. People who are in positions where you don't want everybody you've ever come in contact to know where you live. So if you're in that class, we can also protect your address, but you just have to tell us that you're in that class, and then we go out and protect that. So it's it's kind of a blessing and a burden, I always say, about public records. It's great because you have those records at your fingertips. They're valuable to you. You should use them. They're also kind of a burden because they're out there for other people who may have ill intent to use them. And so for your government agency, we're trying to, we have all these extra duties that we perform to try to protect you in those situations. And we're not perfectionists on that, I have to tell you. So if you look at your records and you see that we've missed something, please let us know. We try to get that done the best we can. We have automated software that identifies most of it. We have processes where we're supposed to identify things. Victims is a new class of information we're supposed to protect. So if you've been a victim of a criminal situation, you have the right to have your identifying information protected in those public records. So if you know of anybody in that situation, the law enforcement officer is actually supposed to tell them that when they come and interview them in that case. So it's just something to be aware of. So if you tell law enforcement, they're supposed to identify you as a victim who wants their information protected, and then that information is supposed to be passed on to the clerk, who then we're supposed to take it out of our records, and so is the state attorney and the public defender. But sometimes that stuff gets missed because it's just a lot of interaction going on there. So always look, always call, always let us know. We're glad to fix it for you.
I just wanted to say,
Yes.
Do you have to pay to have your when you sell your property, do you have to pay to have that recorded?
Yes. There's a recording fee of, I don't know what it is.
I live in Westminster, and that golf course sold about a year ago, was never recorded until my neighbor, who's a realtor, checked it and found it wasn't recorded. So me and him raised a little hell at our meetings. Finally got recorded.
Wow.
So somebody must have paid, I guess. Huh?
Oh my goodness, yeah, somebody would have had to pay to get it recorded, but, to spend money on property, if you don't record it, it doesn't change the title. So you can pay all that money, but not actually really own it unless it's recorded in property records. So that's important.
I just wanted to challenge all the people in the audience. I use this website at work all the time, but when you get a free time, people have iPhones, computers, tablets. Check it out, leeclerk.org.
Yeah,
It is so simplified.
Yeah.
And
It's on your card.
it's just awesome. So if you, like she said, if you ever have any questions, any concerns, any victimized, we want to bring people here. Since Linda has been elected, I can tell you that you brought that website into existence.
Yeah, thank you.
And as anybody, a young kid can operate it.
You can find a lot of valuable information on there, and the other thing I wanted to mention is that we will be adding, like right now you can find, you can fill out forms online. They're pretty easy to fill out. They're called, it's called Turbo Court. It's like TurboTax. If you've ever done your own taxes, kind of the same thing. So if you have a small claims or an eviction, a divorce case, you can go online and fill out these. It prompts you, it asks you questions, like TurboTax. It says, how long have you lived here? What, blah, blah, blah. And then you just answer the questions, and it fills out these complicated whole packets of court forms that's how you file these cases. To get just a set of blank paper forms and try to figure out what to write in all those, those boxes on the piece of paper is a little bit more difficult and challenging. So we have the online forms. They are pretty easy to use. Some of them you can file online. If you can't file it online, you'll need to bring it down to the office. We are adding domestic violence forms to that set of forms that'll be coming up probably in the next 6 months. And we have a self-help center downtown, Fort Myers, where there is a legal aid attorney there every Tuesday afternoon, who will, you can schedule time with him. He even takes walk-ins, he or she, whoever happens to be there that day, and he will actually give you legal advice. and it's free. It's like it's legal aid, it's not anything my office is doing. We provided him the space, and he's just been, we reached out to try to get somebody in there, and he just has been tremendous at helping people. Sometimes people are like, well, I have this situation, but I'm not sure if I should do this or that. And if they ask the clerk, we're gonna say, don't provide legal advice. I'm sorry, by statute, we cannot provide you legal advice. So we send him now to our self-help center, and he will answer your questions, he'll help you if he can, he'll tell you if you really do need an attorney, or if he can just, set you off in the right direction. So it's a pretty valuable service. We have a lot of people that go down there and use that service. So again, you or anyone you know, it's a good thing to know about.
Child support,
Yeah.
self-help really helps people.
Yeah, it does. It'll answer your questions. I know court cases can be very complicated, and you can get lost very quickly. I know that the county is considering, I think they're conceptualizing right now, a government building in Lehigh. So that to me means 2 years from today. Whatever today is, it's gonna be 2 years later. That's my joke about county government. But anyway, it is being talked about at this time, and I think that's a pretty valuable thing. Lehigh's a growing community. We have an office in Cape Coral, where you have a tax collector and a clerk, and they even hold traffic court there, and small claims court in Cape Coral. So, Lehigh is, just probably, I don't know what your population is compared to Cape Coral, but
We're getting real
you're
close
getting
to Cape
there.
Coral.
You're getting there. So they're talking about that, so I envision that it'll probably be there in
2 years.
from today. From whatever today is.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. You've seen that movie. It's my favorite. So that's way down the road, but it is something that, if they do get that off the ground, there will be a clerk presence there, and hopefully a court presence as well. Hopefully be able to do traffic tickets or some minor court stuff there, like they do in Cape Coral, because that's helpful,
I know you guys have a marriage place there, and a very good one, cause you guys actually do like a formal wedding with some people there. I know you guys have a passport time there for people to come in, and they're very, very helpful. Extremely helpful. Go to the post office, it's a big difference. It's like day and night.
Yeah.
I know that you all have where the wills are being stored and or the probate documents, you don't know how to do one, you can just go and ask them. You can go look up someone else's, and maybe something that you want, and you can carbon copy that kind of, and make out your own. Those are good services you guys have.
Yeah.
I like those, and I know that you guys provide classes on some of these things that you might be having, that a lot of people might be having difficulty. I know, for example, you guys have done it at the library, specifically how to do certain things. It's not telling you that that's what you gotta do, but you guys provide valuable classes, and you have covered several others there.
Any questions from the President?
No, I always try and get one thing from each speaker that's valuable to me. This scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, the property fraud is pretty scary, I have to tell you.
It's that you could actually list somebody else's property, sell it right from underneath them, and them not even know it.
Yeah, and it probably happens more with unoccupied properties.
Well, that's everywhere here.
But that's
We're in
longer.
Lehigh.
I know, it's longer. There was it started us, there was an article, and it was several years ago, from Miami-Dade, and it was a big article in their paper, and the picture of the woman who was homeless for close to 2 years because somebody sold her property right out from under her, and they kicked her out because she was living there, and they just said, well, you gotta move, because I now own your property. And now the buyer is completely unaware that it's an illegal transaction, right? They bought the property, they signed the deed, so now they legally own that property until she had to find an attorney to go to the court to take her case, to prove that it was an illegal transaction, to get the court to to rule and make a change in the title of the property. It was really impactful to me to read that story, and this poor woman was like homeless because she didn't really have a lot, you know, that home was all she really had, and so she found herself kinda out on the street for a while until some, you know, nice attorney pro bono took her case and helped her out there. So it's good to know, like, but, you know, it's good to know as soon as possible if there's something being recorded with your name. Because like I said, this is the last thing that happens. You wanna, you know, we need to work with the real estate attorneys and the real estate, agents when they're, you know, when they're performing these sales to get this, to catch this on the front end of this process. So this really just helps you on the back end, but it is helpful. But it's helpful to be aware of it.
Another thing that's happening to people, especially like in Lehigh, we have a lot of vacant houses, you know, like new houses here that no one has, like moved into, but they may live in another state. There's people that's going online with those properties and they're advertising that they're renting these places. And people are paying the first month, last month, and making all these deposits, and guess what? The house don't even belong to them.
Right.
So people are paying out like $2,500, $3,500 to move in a place that they can't even move into. So you have to be really, really, really careful. That's what she means by, like, if you see something suspicious, say something. Because I know in my neighborhood we had people just move in the house. They started getting mail there. They turned the lights on there, and they didn't even own the house.
Right. And a lot of those homes were in foreclosure. So
Yes.
you can tell, again, going through this public records, you can tell who owns the house and whether it's in foreclosure just by doing a search on that, you know, in your court case files, you'll see a mortgage foreclosure come up. So, you know, if all that's happening, it's just being aware of what's going on, you know, and just using those records to the best of your ability. But it's out there and it's available. It's just getting used to using them,
And you're,
making it a habit.
and when you're dating, you go check and see whether the girl's really married. Check the marriage records.
You can.
All right.
If your boyfriend tells you he owns a big mansion, and you know, you can go find out if he's lying or
I
not.
got a question.
Yes.
In reference to refunds, for example, you put money in for tax deed or foreclosure sales and all of that. Is there a reason why it takes 21 days
To get a
to
refund?
get back your refund?
After you requested it?
Yeah,
It takes 21 days.
at least. Well, I just want to bring
I
that up.
don't know.
I
Take so
thought,
long.
I sent a message
Yeah.
to one of your people already.
Okay, well, I'll find out. Yeah, I don't really know why it takes 21 days. I know
Yeah, I like to know when I get back, if I put my money, I wanna get it back quick because I want to
Yes.
do something else with it.
yeah, 21 days seems a little out there. I know we run check runs every week, and so it's probably at least 2 weeks because it takes
Unless
a week to
it's,
get it in the right next week.
unless it depends on the auctioneers, wherever they're located
Right.
in
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale or
Real
whatever.
auction, yeah.
Unless, you know, but I think that, you know, people should get their money back.
Well, Linda, on behalf of the council, I'd like to thank you for coming. It's, seeing the government officials from the county actually come out here to Lehigh is always nice.
Oh, it is nice.
We don't see a lot of them.
Oh,
You guys are all busy downtown.
well, just invite us.
I think they do come out. They have been coming out.
Yeah, you
But,
invite people to come out.
Once we request, they come out.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
know that.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Should,
do you have any questions
do
out
you
there?
have any questions for me on here?
I have a question. Do you have an opinion as to the advisability of Lehigh becoming a city?
Do not have an opinion on that, because, you know, I mean, you know, then you establish your own tax base, and, you know, it's gotta be, I've never really studied you know, what the cost versus what the benefit that you get out of incorporating. You know, I think the analysis of your tax base is really important, considering what you're trying to get out of it. I have no opinion, because I don't really know any of your numbers. You know, I would wanna know the numbers, that's just who I am. I would wanna know the numbers and what
That
you're
would be
getting
more
out
like
of
a
it
tax
and all that.
collector's.
Yeah, so, start with a tax collector, if there's anything I can do to help, we don't really get that kind of information
can take together information, go find a person who did it already.
All right, well, thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right, you're welcome.
And,
Are we gonna get a picture with Linda?
yeah, we will after we're done, but we gotta move on or Mohammed will get.
Yeah, yeah. We gotta make our website.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the meeting, second vice president's report.
Would that be me?
Mohammed?
You know-
That'd be you.
I wasn't planning to be, I had sent in for an excuse, I just came back in country from a different country. But I'll say this, the fire department, I've let you guys know that, look, they have applied to get a place rezoned. That's coming up shortly, they'll be building probably soon too. That is something that's needed. The tire place, somebody mentioned earlier about the new tire place there, that's old news. The building is almost through. No, there isn't another dollar store that is being built currently, but there is one that's been applied for, that I'm hearing, again, there's another one, I don't know what kind. And in fact, we have one of our we have, Melissa still there? Yeah, Melissa normally, the young lady back there, Melissa, would you stand up? Melissa is our secretary for our ERB board. Thank you very much for the wonderful work she's been doing and sending out. The information is made public to all of us.
Mohammed, under new business, there's something that would fall under you. There's a thing under the new business, and we'll jump to it, since it falls under your thing about the auto parts store at Bell and Joel.
What about it?
Everybody's interested in this.
Oh,
Huh? Where is it going? Behind the one that's already there?
No, go ahead. There's a spot there, okay?
Beside it? That's
Where?
like damn near in Harns Marsh.
Highland.
It's kind of going in between the auto parts store and the, I'm trying to remember.
It's
what
next to
it-
Highland.
In the canal?
Kind of next to the canal.
Yeah.
Well, there's
It'd have to
barely
be
room
inside the
there.
canal. There's no room there.
No.
Yeah, Tyler and I took pictures there of, Langston's grass up to here.
Let me say this about.
There's not much room there.
Let me say this about applicants. When applicants come up to apply for a place, they would have already gone to the county, they would have researched how much space is needed, what are the requirements
So
for the
they're gonna put an
county.
auto parts store in right next door to the
No,
other auto
we-
parts
we-
store.
Yes, actually, that was one of the questions that was brought up, and their comment to that was, it's all about marketing.
There you go.
That was their
Oh.
comment.
Thank you very much, Melissa. You can say that. No, but thank you very much.
Well, they do put a McDonald's right across the street from a Burger King.
They do.
So,
Well, talking about the Burger King, it's almost quickly done.
yeah, that was quick.
Yeah, it's gonna be done before you know it. The Waffle House that was supposed to come up by Sierra Avenue, I am getting word, and this is only rumor, I just don't want to. I'm gonna commit myself in saying that gentleman who was gonna do the Waffle House, everything is on hold right now. I have a feeling what they might be doing, they would have said that they're gonna build a Waffle House there. However, their intent is probably to say Waffle House, but they might be selling it. I'm telling you, once it's commercialized, people start selling the property.
Okay. Well, we'll move from that into new business. Okay, we've got, do we have that application? Or that's been going around?
We have a couple applications tonight. Miss Vanessa, who was at our meeting last month with Spencer Roach, everyone here remembers her. And then Sindel Ayala. And this is Sindel's and this is Vanessa's.
Okay, this one I've seen, and this one I wanted to see. You wanna pass that around so everybody can take a look at it, and,
I saw it. That's one you and I saw.
and this looks good. The only thing we'll need from her is her, driver's license and voter registration.
Yes, she'll be
But
bringing that around later.
There's the second one, and we'll vote on those in just a few minutes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I just wanna suggest that, look, on new applicants, if we don't already have it in place 2 weeks before or a week before, because this is something we have talked about and regurgitated, and it came around to people before. I say we stay not that I don't love these people or would like to have them on,
Right.
but to have it instantaneously at the meeting, I say sometimes we gotta consider, give it a little stay and, no
Right.
offense, but do it at a different.
I'll tell you what,
No problem.
we can put that to a vote. Do you guys wanna vote on these tonight, or do you wanna wait until the next meeting?
I say
All in
What-
favor tonight?
What positions are they taking? 2020, 2021, 2022?
You know what, since you know which positions, which ones are open?
I haven't received the latest,
Update.
Update? Where's that?
They'd be taking 2 slots in 2021.
what?
2 slots of 2021.
And that makes sense, but.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Because then this should be deferred until January, if that's the case.
For the January.
Check your bylaws.
I saw this one.
Saul knows the timing on the years better than anybody.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I have no problem, these people are being recommended, but, as he
Yeah,
just stated,
I
it was
can't
one of
pass
the
these after
silent
that.
reasons why I said what I did.
Okay. Well,
we'll just encourage them to continue coming to the meetings,
and.
see what we do, and make sure
Bob,
it's a
if
subject.
it's for January, then we can vote on them
Thank you.
next month and install them in January with all the new officers.
Right.
Mr. Chair, there was one applicant there whose whose application we had seen last month. And I think that applicant, and because we have the opening, we can install that one applicant at least.
Well, let's make sure that we have those openings.
2021, there was a couple of, but I know that for sure.
Okay. Well,
I'm
like I
just
said,
saying.
we can vote on it next month with the officers and install them in January. And I wanna apologize to the council, for Frank. Frank called, he's, Mr. Mann. He had,
That's
another
okay,
pressing
you
thing.
call him Frank. We know what Frank you're talking about.
Okay, well, anyway, he wants to make sure that he's here next month to swear in all the new officers and the new appointees. So,
Or would it be next month?
it'll be next month that you swear them in because they take over in January.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
may I ask that these be coming in our email so that we can take a look at it and then
Right.
move forward?
Right, and we'll
Thanks.
vote them in, next month and get them, sworn in and take over in January with all the new officers. Okay, now, there's something else here under membership applications and terminations. I got a very long, this is a real touchy thing right here. I got a very long voicemail, and, when Mr. Mann called me today, asked about it also, about the removal of, 2 of our members for attendance problems. I went back and checked through my records, and, the one in question here, of course, is Rick Angelikas's. And the last meeting, we got no call, no email, nothing. That's one unexcused absence. I have 4 executive board meetings that he did not attend, no call, no emails. Those are unexcused absences. Plus, as before, when we had the chairman of the board position, it was his responsibility to set up the board meetings. He has done none since I've been elected, so that's why he got his termination letter. So, and the executive board, voted to remove him and for attendance, and also Orville Hall, we did send them both a letter saying if they'd like to reapply to the council at a later date. That's all well and good. But I did get a very long voicemail about it.
It's all right.
All right,
Yay.
now,
No.
now here's the thing that is gonna be sort of touchy. If anybody's familiar with what's going on at the fire department, with the Board of Commissioners at the Fire Commission. This is a very, very, I'm extremely passionate about what they're doing. 3 of the fire commissioners at meeting before last voted to have the chief reopen negotiations with the union and give them more money than they already agreed to in their contract. Now, they have a signed contract that was negotiated in good faith on both sides. And they wanna reopen it, this is unheard of, and give them more money, our money, okay, that they don't have to give them. But these 3 members all have union ties, these 3 commissioners. And one of them has a son that works there as a fireman, the other one has a husband that works there as a fireman, so this money's going into their household. The other one has very strong union ties from his previous occupation. So, and it went right, the way the votes went, there's 5 commissioners, they need 3 to pass anything, and the 3 that are backed with money from the union are the 3 that voted on giving the union members more money, even though they just signed a contract not very long ago, and now they wanna give them more money. And I found out that the contract that they signed, they negotiated their pay raise down from 5% to 4% in order to get their Kelly days back. Kelly Day is a free paid day off every so often. And it was a pretty good negotiation on both sides. Well, the other union, because there's 2 unions there, they got 5%, 5%, and 5% on their contract. And this one got 4, 4, and 4, and their Kelly days back. So their reasoning, the one commissioner's reasoning was, well, we wanna make it even. So we wanna reopen negotiations and give them money that we don't have to give them, because they've already signed the contract, and that's our money. I think that my opinion here is that it's totally irresponsible. It's a huge conflict of interest. And I was coming to the council tonight to ask if there is a remedy that we can use for this. The remedy is to, and it's a very low threshold, is to have a recall petition and recall these commissioners. In Florida, there's been, it's like this state is a hotbed for recall elections. There's a recall election in this state somewhere just about every year. Some years there's quite a few recall elections. The threshold is 5% of the voters to get it started in a petition. And that gets it started. And then you give it to the supervisor of elections, and he sends them a letter and asks for their resignation. That's how it starts. If they refuse, then you need more of their signatures, and it costs 10 cents a signature to get the signatures verified. So the cost is not very much, and the signatures aren't very high. The only unclear thing, and I have to get clear from Tommy Doyle, is it, one person told me it's 5% of the people that voted in that election, and somebody else said it's 5% of the registered voters in Lehigh.
Registered voters.
Well, I've got 2 different answers from 2 different lawyers. Go ahead.
I've got a question.
Okay,
I heard your side of that.
right.
Is there another side of the story?
Chief?
Pretty accurate? Commissioner?
That is exactly correct.
Yeah, this is one of our fire commissioners that voted against it.
Okay, there's a reason I asked. Okay? Politics is a very strange
Extremely.
creature. People in politics can say just about anything they want to sometimes, and if you're not careful, you'll be hearing things strange. So I'm just asking, since I wasn't there and don't have a pot in the kettle or whatever, I just wanted to hear what the chief had to say, and I know at least one commissioner was sitting in the audience.
Well, and here's the rub on all this. Since I've become president, I've sort of steered us away from getting involved in the politics and just presenting the information to the people. The reason why I think that we need to get involved in this is a huge issue and a huge misuse of our tax dollars, and a huge mistrust of, it's basically like they don't give a shit about the people that live here. It's their money. I mean, the chairman over there spoke about them being a family, and it was sort of like them against us.
Right, the conflict of interest alone.
It's huge.
It's all we need.
And you called me Rick.
But I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You just went on a tangent like that, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But anyway, the conflict of interest alone. I mean, you cannot have appointed people and family members
Well,
in cahoots
here's the thing,
making a
Jane.
decision. So I think it's important that we
I'll clarify this for you.
educate all the people in Lehigh and follow suit to
I'll
what you
clarify
want to
this
do.
for you. Their attorney, which I don't like. Anyway, I'll lay it out there. He wrote a letter to the Ethics Commission up in Tallahassee and got a response back that it's okay for her to vote on her husband's contract, okay? First, I did a little checking, the attorney that he got the letter from hasn't been there very long. He's a pretty young attorney. And now, it's not just both contracts and all the fire department, it's narrowed down to just the firefighters in this one union. And her husband is in it. Now, this will be his third raise since she's been in office for 10 months. Now, one of the raises, it was in process before she actually took office, but it's still, the fact still remains, this will be his third raise in 10 months of her being there.
This sounds like a story from Fox 4.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to make a comment. I think as a council, the first thing first, and this is only my suggestion.
Right.
We do a resolution, have it recorded, and or request to have it be spoken at the fire board.
Right.
The same information you utilize it in the format that you're talking about, it's a follow through.
Right.
But this is the way, to me, those are the ways to go
We
with
need
it.
to pass a resolution condemning the fire
No, we're
commissioner's
not,
actions, right?
we're not condemning, we're expressing the concerns of citizens in reference to what's going on. That's how you do it, and we can phrase it out in certain ways.
I
to
think it
make
should be a
appropriate.
conflict of interest.
I think for tonight that this is just a discussion. We do need to hear public intake on this.
Right.
So we are not going to take any real action tonight.
I think we should.
We will
hold-
next month.
We should hold the action off.
Until we notify the people, the residents.
There you go.
And, wait, here's the thing I wanna know
Where's our reporter?
is,
She's not here tonight.
how are
It's a story.
we're just having a conversation.
Just
How are the
for
members
everybody
of
to
the?
know, this is being broadcasted
Yeah.
through Facebook Live. Thank you, Vanessa.
Well, here's the thing I wanna know, is, we're just having a conversation here on the council. How does the council feel about us coming out against what they're doing? Do you guys have a problem with the council coming out against it? What the fire commissioners are doing?
I think we should get the entire Lehigh Acres community against it.
Right,
Exactly.
so in other words, I should go crazy on Facebook and our
Yes.
website?
Yes.
Well, go to each council member individually. So
Well,
each-
what about, how do you feel about it, Will?
Smells to me.
So it smells to you and your nose is not working well? What about you, Yepram?
Same way.
What, Jane?
I think we have to stay professional about it,
Yeah.
but it is definitely a conflict of interest. As long as you take it from
Absolutely.
that standpoint, conflict of interest, you can't confuse the community.
Right, exactly.
Take it to Facebook.
Okay?
So, taking off of Jane and off of Mo, I think we do need to keep it professional. We can get very angry in a personal way and emotional way, but that allows people to discount us.
Right.
I think being formal with them about there's a conflict of interest, and then informing people that there's a conflict of interest, they can read about it, they can educate themselves, they can learn about it, and that can be the step before a petition, because if nobody knows anything, they're not gonna try to help with anything.
Well, what we'll do is I'll inform them on them, because we get, what was it, 8,000 hits last month on Facebook?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Okay, so we get a lot of hits, so I'll inform them first, and then I'll do like a survey, you know, how they, have surveys on Facebook. I'll do a survey after it's been out there for a while and see what the people think.
Chuck, can you do an interview with Fox 4 about this conflict of interest?
Yeah.
Some people watch the news.
Yeah,
Everybody's not on the internet.
Right, we got it in at Fox 4. She loves Tyler. She thinks he's cute.
I really think.
She was hitting on Tyler.
Considering this community, there's a lot of people in this community where there's no internet services in the areas that they live.
Right.
So I really think you need to take it to the media.
Well, then, we
Both
will,
outlets.
we will make a call to them.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
What do you think?
I know you went that direction, I made a suggestion, and I'm gonna reiterate that suggestion. Stay professional, a resolution we have a public hearing.
Right.
I know it's not out there, but we can have a resolution
Do you wanna vote tonight?
to go and be done. You know, do up a resolution, send it, and let us meet before if I board do.
I still think when it comes to something of this.
Then the action that you will take as far as your petition and all of that, you know, with the resolution, you have built your case to go forward. That's how we should be.
But like Tyler
That
says,
is
we
me.
should, I agree with Tyler, and I'll take your comments under advisement, but I agree with Tyler that we should probably, do this a little while on the internet and then come back next month once this has sunk in, and then vote on it the next time, not this quickly.
Okay, then I would also propose, it's not only on Facebook, we have people who look at the little newspapers that are around. I say it must be in those papers,
Well,
little clicks.
There's,
I'm done.
we'll take that under advisement. Yeah, well,
Is there a problem though of the officers of the organization speaking out about this without a resolution? In other words, then you're just speaking your own opinion, you're not speaking for the organization.
right, well, you have a very good point there. Without the resolution, us speaking out would be speaking out as an individual rather than speaking for the.
But we still need to educate the community. We can't take this group of people in this room and make a decision for 120,000.
I'll just put the information out there, and then we'll come
We
back
have to
next
have
month
the
and see what's
community input.
happening with it,
Right.
okay?
Yes.
What do you think about, wait a minute, I'm sorry, forgot Jay, what's your opinion?
I think you ought to do your investigation and get the information out there first.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking, what about you, Bill?
It's a definite conflict of interest. I don't know, I don't like to fly off the handle right away, but, I think we ought to do some investigating.
Okay, then I'll put it out there on the Facebook, what do you think, DeWitt?
So obviously, this is an agenda item for next month.
Obviously, number one agenda item, in my opinion.
I'll let Saul go first.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Let me just say this. I was a professional negotiator in the state of New Jersey.
Right,
I negotiated for some of the highest contracts in the state of New Jersey. If I had done that, the other side would have taken me out back and tarred and feathered me.
exactly, exactly.
So one thing I'd like to add, is I believe Lo was bringing up the idea of a resolution, possibly sending them a letter of sorts. Could we perhaps write something that we approve next time, that we show the council next time? Instead of sending anything, we write something and show it to the council.
Yeah, show it to the council, and then if it's approved, send it?
Yeah.
Yes.
after that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
By
Quick
the
question.
time- By the time we come to our meeting, we should have
Commissioner.
Yes.
Charles,
Draft.
I got, Alyssa, is, y'all are basically correct, but what I would like to recommend is once you do your investigation, write down what you have. Some of the information is a little bit not there or a little bit misleading, but I would like you to come in, talk with the chief. We've got the tapes that you could listen to word for word.
Right,
Okay.
I bought one of them.
Okay, so what, because, like you said, for example, the 3 raises, the person got, I believe I got promoted.
Right, like I
So,
said, that was in
but a
progress ahead of
promotion
time.
is different than
Right.
just a raise.
Right, I
So-
said that, but
But when you list, oh, he got 3 raises, then it misleads the story.
Right.
All I'm saying is, get your information, come in and talk with our chief. Verify the information off the tapes and everything, and let's make sure that it's accurate, because if we are not accurate, everything is going to go haywire because of what's going on and how we are looking at Lehigh building, okay?
well,
All I
here's
want is
something I wanna
accuracy.
make very, very clear. This is not an action against the firefighters. The firefighters didn't have anything to do with this, that more the chief. They do their job, they do a very good job, in
Yes, they
my
do.
opinion. They're a bunch of really good guys, but the commissioners have gone off, and this is my personal opinion, they've gone off the deep end.
Well, we put them in office so we can do what it takes.
Well-
Whatever.
Exactly. I didn't put any of them down.
I'm just saying.
Well, like I say, you can do, but just make sure that when you promote on the website, on your Facebook, on everything,
Meet
that
with
the
chief
information is
first.
100% accurate,
Exactly.
and you
Right.
run it by the chief to make sure that it is 100%.
And what they're doing.
That's all I'm asking.
What these 3 commissioners have been doing, if you
Shut
watch
up.
their actions
Shut
there.
up. We heard that part.
Yeah, we already
We-
tell, we know how you
we-
feel.
Okay.
We know already.
We're behind you
All right,
100%.
all right.
Move
You
on.
need to meet
Then
with
we'll
them,
move on.
and then go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I get a little long-winded about this because
I wanna come back to this. Let us be clear which direction we're going, cause we said lots of different things. So let us be clear as a group, which direction we're headed.
Chuck
What are
is
we
gonna
doing?
meet with chief, get all of the facts,
and we're gonna write it down so that I.
and he's
I
gonna
do
write it down, he's gonna
correctly.
meet with chief first. We wanna be clear, we wanna report factual stuff. We don't wanna report something that's gonna be,
And
make
like I
people
did with,
concerned.
like I did with, when
Okay.
Spencer was coming, I'm gonna blast the Facebook. There's
Exactly.
the way to boost it.
like Linda Doggett was coming last time.
Right.
There you go.
So, Mr. President, I know we said that, we're gonna get the facts. Where I would like to know what we're gonna do, how we gonna go about doing what we're doing.
Well-
Other than getting the facts, where it's gonna go. I hear you say Facebook, let me ask a question, okay? I hear you say Facebook. I remember mentioning the papers, it is highly overlooked.
Right, oh no, I agree with you, but.
We're gonna hit every
we're-
media
we're-
outlet.
This is just a start.
I'm asking the
We're-
question.
This is just a start.
Okay.
And the next meeting, when we decide what we wanna do with it, once we see the response we're getting, then we'll move on with
Yeah.
making it bigger.
We can't.
But I'm not gonna let it go away.
We can't talk about how to, send out the information before we have seen the information.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, so next meeting would be.
But we talked about all of that here, this is why I want
Yeah.
All right.
to regurgitate.
Now, I can sit here,
everything.
I can sit here and beat those commissioners to death, but I'm not going to. We're gonna move on.
Let's move on.
We're gonna move on. Okay, the nominations for the executive board for, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm so sorry.
Is there a possibility of maybe having a liaison or some kind of representative from the fire department or the commissioner and maybe be a guest to one of these meetings and that's not?
I can do that as a possibility.
Well, we have one of the fire commissioners sitting right here.
Okay, so
Yeah,
And the
from
fire
your-
chief.
From
a
your side.
representative and a liaison that could maybe educate.
Just for your information, I'm Commissioner Carter. I used to sit on this board for about 12 years. I've been a fire commissioner here in Lehigh. It's going on my third term, which is almost 9.5 years. So I'm one of the longest serving commissioners, and I look out, as everybody here knows, I look out for the community. Okay?
And it's my first time in the meeting, so I don't
Exactly.
really know anyone. So just, I'm hearing everything and just more education and more
Yeah.
information to the
Well-
public, just like you guys said.
Next,
Yeah, well-
next meeting, we will have I can promise you this, we will have a fire commissioner in here as a guest speaker.
Okay, now, let's move on to something.
Thank you, Charles. I'm gonna have to run.
All right, thank you very much, Linda, for coming.
Catch you later.
And just so everybody knows, fire chief's here too.
He's been quiet. Interesting.
He's stuck in the middle between all of this
Of
stuff.
course.
I
Right.
do a lot of stuff we can't talk about. Okay, now,
Let's
we
move on.
we set up a nomination committee for officers and you guys didn't meet. So, we're gonna do,
We'll meet
we gotta
before
get them
next
done,
meeting.
we gotta do them now.
According to the bylaws, we need to do it now.
we-
So we'll do floor nominations.
We can do floor nominations.
Yeah, the committee is to hopefully get some things ready, but if it
But
can
the
happen-
floor nominations are still open, so we'll do floor nominations still. We have to have them, according to the way we changed the
October.
bylaws, we have to do them today. We have to have nominations, because we have to have paper ballots by next month.
He's ready. We're
Okay,
set.
all right.
First question, who wants to be president?
I do.
Hey, nominations.
Are you gonna nominate me or what?
No, you ready?
The
Chuck?
question is, does anybody want to be president other than Chuck?
Oh, anybody else?
Reasonable question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Write this down.
does anybody else wanna be
I
president?
nominate Chuck to be president.
I'll compete against that position.
Thank you.
Okay, so then we have two. All
Okay.
right.
So, now we have two names. Do we have a third?
Chuck and Mohammed.
Okay.
That works for me. Okay, who wants to be first vice president? Tyler. Does
Anybody else?
anybody want to?
Running
Would
against
compete
Tyler?
against that nomination too. No, you can compete against any number of,
Okay, I didn't say anything.
no, I'm just saying.
You wanna be first and president? Okay, no
You
problem,
could.
no
You
problem.
could, you never know who's gonna get elected.
Absolutely.
He's trying to hold his position like.
No,
he
I
wants to
don't
be a
care for-
senator,
I
and he
don't have
wants
a
to.
problem with that.
No, listen, let me make.
Okay, so is there anybody that wants to also be considered for first?
I
Are
nominate
we
you.
gonna have
Is that
rank-
Will?
No, are we gonna have rank voting?
Well, at some point, we're gonna have to vote on what we have nominated, but don't we wanna know?
I nominate
the whole
you
list?
to run against Tyler.
Oh. Okay, number one,
The reason I'm asking.
don't nominate somebody else for something you don't want to do. You hear what I'm
I
saying?
just,
No.
I just joined the council like
It's
6
great.
months ago.
I know, but you know me.
Yeah.
So let's
Okay.
go. Well,
I just,
So the
I'm
question
just
is-
saying, no, that it would be interesting to know if we're gonna use ranked voting, because that could affect, as
There you go.
if somebody's gonna run for more than one position.
all right, Linda has to leave, so I guess we're not gonna.
Well, she's not gonna be able to vote anyway, so we can let her go.
Our bylaws do not specify any way we can or cannot vote, so we
Right.
can have a ranked choice voting if the council so wishes.
Yeah.
Tyler,
I
get
would
a
like-
picture of
I
her,
would
put on
like to-
the website.
I would like to move, for discussion that we consider ranked,
I'll second
That's
the
not a
motion.
problem. That's not a
I
problem.
didn't even hear
Yeah,
what he
there you
said.
go.
Who wants to get a picture with Linda before they leave?
Everybody.
We wanna get a picture with Linda, so let's get a picture with
Here.
her. Let's just stand around,
Chair.
we'll stand around.
Mr. Chair, I ask
If
for a
anybody
hold,
from the audience
for a
wishes to
1
take a
minute
picture,
hold
they're free
while
running.
we're doing this.
Yes.
Does anybody in the audience wanna get a picture with
The
our,
sooner you can get over there, the sooner it gets
clerk of
done.
court, who brought us
Who
this
wants-
great
Who wants to take the
information?
picture? There you go, Tyler.
And remember, she's living document.
We gotta get over there. What? To have our picture taken. I don't either.
Off the truck, Jack.
Anybody else wish to get into the vote?
We only got a 2-minute portion, so let's go.
Chief,
You're gonna be on the website.
If everybody wants to meet, then come on.
is anybody else at the table?
You're wasting my time.
You get them all in there, Tyler?
Maybe
We gotta back up a bit more.
you need to get closer.
Everyone get closer a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. Get closer.
Not that close.
I took a few of them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia.
Now let's get back to work.
We're waiting for the flash. I know.
You did a good job.
That looks good, Tyler.
But you gotta understand.
Yes, I like the fact that you're not.
This is streaming on Facebook.
Nobody vote on you?
This is streaming on Facebook.
All right.
We need to get,
Yes.
I'm
All right.
Okay.
Like I said, the second vice president, that's the one we were,
We're still on first. But
No,
we still,
no.
we were, before we do that, we were entertaining a motion about ranked choice voting.
right.
We don't have a problem with that.
No, we don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
I don't have a problem.
You wanna be second vice?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, see, now that's.
I don't want her there.
I don't care.
The position I want her in is George's.
Well,
Second vice. George is doing a good job.
Jane and Mohammed, he wants to run for that too? Mohammed wants to run for everything.
We would
doesn't he?
assume, yes.
Okay, I'll put it down on there too. First, president, first and second.
We'll put it
Mohammed
down
wants
there
to run
if
for
he says
everything.
otherwise.
please understand, according to our bylaws,
Right,
everybody currently sitting at the table can run for every position except president,
right. You have to be on the executive board for a year.
okay? Did everybody understand that?
Okay. All right,
A newbie just starting out can apply or run for any position other than president.
right,
The requirement is that you must serve on the executive board before you can run for president.
yes, you have to serve a year on the executive board. All right, now,
Got one more
Secretary.
position. Secretary,
I nominate Jane Bell.
I nominate Will.
for secretary.
Will is a writer.
No,
I didn't have a problem with that.
I
But
But no, in all seriousness, I think
He's
George
doing
is
a great
doing a
job.
great job. I email him immediately, I see him making corrections, send it back out. So if George still wants to do it, I think
I'm done.
what was that?
I'm good.
You're good, as in,
George,
you'll keep on doing it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a vote, but yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'll keep on
Okay,
going.
so you're still in the loop. And
And,
Ms. Bell was tossed into that pile also,
right,
and Will was tossed in, but he jumped out.
yep, Will jumped out.
Ms. Bell is recommending George, cause I think he's done a good job.
Okay,
That can be your vote. See, I have no problem with that.
this one,
That's all of the positions though, right? Well,
no,
no,
there's
we
one
got one
more.
more. You got
That's
one more.
The treasurer, and I nominate Bob to keep his position.
I second it.
I'm ignoring all of that. The first question is, Bob, do you want your position?
Of course he does.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now.
Yeah, does
now
anybody else want that
else
job?
No.
Want to jump into that part?
Hey, guys, I've seen the books.
Yeah.
You don't want that job.
Oh, tell me.
So-
I already know that.
so
Okay,
I
but
would-
we now have a full
Right.
slate.
So here's one thing, so there is one position, cause technically, secretary right now, I have
Correspondent.
both positions, but there is correspondent and
Correspondent
court.
secretary.
Yeah,
I could do both, we could just lump them together, but they can technically be run for separately.
right.
So
So
the real question is, why do we need two?
Exactly.
True, that's fine, I just wanted to make.
I'm just
clarify.
asking the question.
We don't.
Sometimes it's best to decentralize, responsibilities. Some people are better suited for, say, what a correspondence secretary does.
Sending letters.
Sending letters, going out to the community, trying to get donations and sponsorships.
Having been the corresponding secretary, I'm here to say, if you have conflict within this group, it is too easy to lead down a long trip. Rabbit trails, trouble.
We know exactly what you're talking about. We're
You
talking.
should.
I don't have a problem, sending out, like Linda Doggett, I know her personally. Amara Fox, I know her personally.
Which
They're my
is-
friends. So it's very simple for me to say, hey, can you
Well,
please come out to Lehigh to our meeting?
Which is why,
No big
Jane,
deal.
I want you, and you should be on the correspondence secretary position.
So-
Not technically George's position, which is in charge of recording the minutes.
Yeah, what I think we could do is that we could put both my name and hers under both secretary positions and see who people think is better at which job. If they think I'm better at both jobs, then I can keep both jobs, but I was just wanted to, because it's written down as one of the positions, I thought I should bring it up, that's all.
Right. Well, you want me to?
She's a wonderful correspondent, I can keep recording, that's completely.
I'll list them both.
That's true.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, on those positions that are there, I just want to make us all aware that nominations can come from the floor on that day also.
Not according to the bylaws. That-
You changed it?
We did change
We
it.
did change it.
After tonight,
Nominations are
nominations are
closed
closed.
tonight.
Okay, can
We
I
have a
say
closed-
something?
We have
I'm done.
we have a closed.
I will accept the correspondence, so please remove me from second vice.
Okay.
I'll accept the correspondence to get guest speakers and donations,
Now,
but
my understanding.
not both.
Now, my understanding
Mhm.
is we're gonna marinate on this for the month and vote on it.
There
next
you
month.
go.
Right, and I'm gonna have a paper ballot, secret ballot, that's the way we changed the bylaws.
I'll make sure, just to make it extra clear, I'll make sure to list this out and send this as like a separate attachment with.
Okay, makes sense?
Supposed to,
Okay,
wait a minute, Chuck,
yes.
because we're not gonna be here at that meeting.
Oh, yes, there was something that Tyler and I talked about, we wanna see whether or not you guys agree. Okay, we all have busy schedules and all of us can't be here at all these meetings.
Exactly.
So, for the voting, how do you guys feel about being able to vote by email? And send them all to the
It
secretary?
would be similar to an absentee ballot. so-
Yeah, similar to an absentee ballot,
It
would you do it
prob-
by email?
Chuck, it would probably be best if we send it to somebody from the nomination committee that is not up for an office.
Yeah, we can send them all
Which
to
True.
would be
DeWitt.
either DeWitt
We send them all to
or
DeWitt.
Will.
I'll take them.
The absentee votes by email to DeWitt. And
Acceptable.
we'll send you an official ballot by email, then you can, do your
Fill it in.
selections and email them to.
Reply back to who you wanted to be.
And
Sounds
anybody
good.
that's not gonna be here,
Makes
okay,
sense.
just let us know. That way everybody gets to vote, okay? That sounds like a fair thing, Tyler came up with that actually, guys.
I'm for it.
Congratulations, Tyler.
Alright, so,
But you will have the treasurer's report before I leave.
I'll bet
Thank
you
you.
we do. What is this, cruise number 6 this year?
No, it's number 3.
I don't know, only 3?
Yeah.
That's December 2nd, right, next meeting?
First Monday, I think it is.
Yeah, and we'll be on the cruise ship.
What's that date?
Would the chair entertain a discussion about?
December 2nd?
Chuck,
Do what now?
we can entertain a discussion about our meeting dates. It was brought to my attention that, Cascola meets on the first Monday in the month, and this is one reason that Orville had some attendance issues. cause he was an officer, president of Cascola for a while. For those who don't know, the Caribbean American
Right.
Social Club of Lehigh Acres meets
He
on the
actually
first
said that.
Monday of the month, it's my understanding.
He actually said.
Well, I
that.
think we need to understand that we're in a partnership with the Lee County
And I-
Sheriff's Department, and I don't think
Okay.
they're used to us being here the first Monday of the month, and without this where are we gonna go?
Guys,
If
the
these
reason-
guys can't do
The
it.
reason why we changed it to the first Monday is because at the other administration had it set up to where it was exactly the same night as Lamson's meeting. And we changed it so that people could attend both meetings, this and Lamson's. But you want us to have that as an agenda item about the
Yeah,
change?
just a discussion, maybe a different day or a different location or something, but, and then the Domino's
This is
Club
the
meets on the third Monday, and, so, you know.
We
Monday's a
discussed
very
this
popular
before,
day.
and every night we proposed.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something, there's something going on almost
My
every
club
night.
meets on different days too. I mean, this is the day,
Yeah,
this is it.
well, you know, seriously, we went through this once before, so.
We'll live through it.
I can put it on the agenda and we can talk about it.
I have to ask, why are we talking about changing the date again?
For Oval.
Or,
I asked if the chair would would consider a discussion again, and I only bring it up because I think Cascola is a very important club. They have
They
a
are.
large
I don't
number
disagree.
of people, and it just happens that they meet at the same time as we do, and I'm just wondering if there's some way to accommodate or to address that problem, because I think there are many members of Cascola would be good members of council.
I definitely do not
Or would like to
disagree.
attend.
I think it's good, but if we look at the past, and we look at the time that people have been asking for excuse, and it's the same date, we might find that, look, some of those same people would have been absent on those same dates that we are trying to reconsider again.
Right.
I am just telling you, historically, and the minutes would have, all the minutes, the attendance would show that. I have no
Well,
problem with how you
Well,
would
it's
have taken
important that they
I'd
wanna-
love that Mr. Orr will be back here.
If they wanna be on the council, change their date.
Well, the thing
Not
is,
really,
the
very
reason why
important.
we've moved the meeting to this date is so
What's the
that way we
Lamson?
can free up the Lamson meeting for any of the public to attend and any of us on this board to attend. I attend those meetings.
Me too.
Well, I think going to the fire board meeting and the Lamson meeting is just as important as this coming year, so we'll put it on the agenda as old business and we'll talk about it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Because,
I'm just suggesting maybe a different day
No,
of
you're
the
right.
week,
All right.
Tuesday.
And
I have a fire relay for
let's
life.
move on so we're not keeping everybody here all night.
Yeah, come on.
The next thing on the agenda here was the Harns Marsh Little Resource Fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so one of the principals at Harns Marsh emailed me and messaged the Facebook page about the council attending the resource fair, having documents about what we do here, what we are about, and just basically being a resource for the community. This is a good chance for us to have a larger active role in the community, physical presence instead of just an online presence, and of course, our one physical presence a month here at the meeting.
Right.
I would very much like people's help with this.
What's the day, Tyler?
November 20th.
What day is
Oh,
that?
God, that's coming up pretty quick there.
What day of the week is that?
That would be a Saturday.
Well, I don't have a problem with Saturday. I
Actually,
can
let me
come out
make
with
sure.
myself. Okay, Tyler, I can do that with you.
If not everyone can make it, that's fine.
Some people can go.
Never mind, that is a Wednesday, my apologies.
See, Wednesday I work.
Oh, Wednesdays.
Yeah, I can say to
It's
my.
late afternoon.
What time?
I might be able to do
What
that.
time?
Never mind, it's not late afternoon. 8 a.m.
Oh,
I
boy,
assumed it was.
that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Okay.
That is late early morning.
It's only an hour long, 8 to 9.
I'm retired. Do you know what 8 o'clock is to me?
Yeah.
My first cup of coffee.
Mr. Chair, may I propose on something like that? Whoever would like to attend and join Tyler along, send him a message.
Yeah, what about,
Alright,
And
guys,
the deadline to send that message could probably be a week from now or 2 weeks.
okay.
I would
we
like,
need-
I would like it next week if you could.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to be honest, I won't be able to attend. I
That's
work.
fine.
Alright.
That's fine, that
Just
doesn't have to make
let's-
it, but
alright.
more than one person, preferably.
And Tyler, I'll get you the brochures to print it up to hand out.
Thank you.
I got enough old pictures from Lehigh that look really nice. Okay. Yeah, they used to have brochures and they were crappy. Anyway, we'll move on to old business.
Tyler, I can join you for a half hour, is that good?
Let's send a message to Tyler, please.
Oh, yeah, oh, wait a minute, there was one more thing about voters registration. Tyler brought this up and talked to the Board of Elections. I've got voters registration papers laying over there and mail-in ballot, request. And Tyler was talking to the Board of Education, or Board of Elections, and I think this is a really good thing for us to do, about, us being a third party for the voters registrations, where people can fill out their voters registration, give it to us, and we in turn turn it in. How does everybody feel about
Where are you
that?
gonna meet, where are you gonna,
I mean, they can bring them here.
Yeah, to the meetings.
They can bring them to the meeting, register to vote while they're here, or get their mail-in ballot, or change their
It's the same
registration.
thing, not all
And
people.
I mean, is this something you need to go to the sheriff's department about?
No.
State.
No,
This
the
is-
state.
Okay, I'm just saying because we're utilizing this building.
Well, it would be during meetings though, so we don't have to use it any more than we already use the building.
Okay, well, yeah.
I know.
Folks, if you guys would like, I am also a registered,
Third party?
third party. It's not a problem, you got rules to follow. Within X amount of time, you gotta be able to turn it in. So these are things that we gotta be cognizant about. If
Right.
people want, they can do it and they can bring it, I'll be willing to take it in.
Well, but I think it's something we should do. What do you guys think? Should we advertise that we are going to be doing this?
I don't think we should
make it
advertise that
official
we're doing it
before we
here,
Make it
guys.
official first? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think
Alright.
we should advertise that
Do
we're
we-
doing
do
it
you
here
wanna
without
do it?
going to the legal.
Do you wanna be a third party for the election, for voter registration?
Make it a movement?
You-
I motion that we accept becoming a third-party voter registration.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Passes.
I don't have a
Get
problem with us
get her
doing
done.
We're done, we're done.
Get it done. All right, and now we can move on to old business. We'll move the MSBU. Tyler?
The MSBU, I'm looking at doing a new direction on the MSBU. Instead of focusing on sidewalks first, we should focus on roadways. The roads, if anyone's noticed, the moment they're paved, they start cracking. They were not meant to hold the population that we have. So if putting sidewalks will hamper any form of road expansion or road repair we have. It would just cost more money in the long term, so we should focus on roads first.
Like,
Now, as to how we get the MSBU on the ballot, I still have not received any word. I've called again and they still just give me a runaround about us paying for it to get it on the ballot. They're still saying that we should do the petitions, which we need 50% plus one of the registered voters in Lehigh.
that's 25,000.
Chuck made a comment when we were talking about the recall election, where we can get the legality to send out petitions to the voters in their residence, like they do the mailer ballots and sample ballots, so on and so forth. And so they can fill them out and send them in to the office.
I think you guys need to go door to door and get signatures.
Well,
Door to door is an option, but people don't really like door to door. Now, I've gone door to door as a candidate, and while I have received many positive feedback about being door to door, I've also received an equal amounts negative.
here's something
Sure.
what we want to talk to Tommy Doyle about, and Tyler or I will give him a call, is whether or not we can do that. Can you do a petition by mail? Can you do that? I don't see any reason in this day and age why the Board of Elections wouldn't say you can't. if they verify the signatures and the driver's license on the, petition, I'm pretty sure that they would, it'd be a lot more pieces of paper, but you're paying them 10 cents a signature
I
anyway.
think we don't, that should not be a problem to ask the county attorney. It's free.
Right, right.
I think
Well,
that's
we're
the
paying for
channel
it.
to go. I wanna come back to your request to have one of those MS, whatever,
BU,
for roads.
yes, roadways.
Do what with
They would be the
roads?
side roads, of course, repair, expand,
My friend, we have a great,
we do.
we do.
They-
Just tell me where we're having that problem. We have $5.4 million to resurface road again this year
They can only
in
pave-
Lehigh.
They can only pave so much, and again, like I said, the moment they're paved, they start cracking.
My friend,
Hire better contractors.
what
Serious.
are we trying to achieve with that?
There's something you need to bring up with Frank's here.
Outsourcing,
The roads, period.
We're getting roads.
You need to bring it up with Frank.
Muhammad, I can say, see roads in Lehigh that had humongous
That
potholes
needs repair.
that no longer exist, they've been repaired. So people are reporting it because they don't want
I
to have to
concur with you
replace
there.
their tires and people.
They don't repair some of those potholes right. They repair them and then in 2 weeks, they're torn up again.
All right,
Oh,
no
to
problem.
refill it.
Then we have an issue
You
with,
gotta do it right.
then
Do
we
it
have
right
an
last.
issue with, it's happening, if they repair it, it's broke. We can go to the commissioners for that, or to DOT, alright? We can go to them and we
We've
can
got a
tell
good
them
hand
that.
with the DOT here, so.
And
that's
I
what
can
we
ask
should
Ron to
talk
come
to.
in,
but
okay?
there is also issues with roads being flooded, and that may be a drainage issue.
That is a
but-
drainage issue.
But these are roads that don't have drains, that do not, that are in low-lying areas. With this MSBU, we could raise these roads up, make it more accessible for people, so that way they don't flood.
Tyler,
Tyler, I think we.
this is my opinion about the MSBU.
Yeah.
MSBU, you know what this means to me? And I told you that, my feelings on this before. MSBU means more taxes.
Yes, it does.
And
Right now.
right now, with the way the taxes are going, and, I mean, I've been here 6 years. My taxes on my house are 300% what they were when I got here.
But this is what it
Thanks
also
to
means.
Lamson, the fire fee assessment, I hate to say that.
School
and-
boards?
And the school boards.
These
I'm
are
paying
special areas.
300% increase in 6 years.
But this is something else that everybody, even those in the public, need to think about.
Well, I will
If you
tell
are
you-
in favor of
Look at the
incorporation,
ratio
this
to
is one of the
ordination.
powers that we would have to get. And MSBU means that we already have that power, which means easier roadmap to incorporation.
No.
If,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if you guys, if that's an issue in reference to roads, let me get the right people, or let us get the right people from the county
bring the
to
DOT.
come in
people
here, so we can deal with that issue. I don't think that, I'll tell you, we have got from $0.8 million to $5.2 million to now $5.7 million. I don't know where we're getting with this, we got more, they could not finish the money or finish the roads with the amount of money we have. We
Anyway,
have the highest amount of, for road resurfacing.
Get the DOT here and let's
I'll
move
get
on.
the DOT.
Okay,
You
Tyler,
know, we
One
can't
Blood,
jump around.
anything else from One Blood?
Nothing more than the fact that we will be having a blood drive on January 14th.
Okay, now the next thing of, old business is the candidate events, and I'm gonna wait, we're gonna, after our January meeting, after our new officers are installed, we'll set up where and when we're gonna hold, I'd like to hold at least 2 candidate events for the next election. One of them I'm gonna be a little biased on, it's gonna have to do with the fire commissioners. That's gonna come up, but we're gonna have like a candidate forum first, like Rick used to have, but we're gonna try and do something different this year that Tyler's brought up. We've talked to quite a few people about it. Some of the higher offices, it would be nice, and I talked to one person at Fox news about being a commentator, about having a candidate debate in Lehigh Acres. It would be nice to see our county commissioners have an actual debate, let the people from the news come up with the questions and be the mediator, and we just basically sponsoring the debate. I would love to see a debate between these candidates. One that I'd really like to see is there's a Democrat gonna run against Frank Mann. I'd love to see that. But I think that the debate thing, if we can put it together, I think it'll be a really good thing for the people of Lehigh. I have a feeling it'd be a packed house.
Like outside, like mugs and jugs or something like that.
Well, we're gonna need Eastleigh County's
Exactly.
auditorium for that.
You think you're gonna get that many people?
Oh my God. Our candidate
For debate,
forms.
yes.
Yeah, for a debate, yeah. All right, well, like I said, we'll talk about that after the January meeting. Now, right now, we're gonna get, because it's been a pretty long meeting, we're gonna move right, any public comments
On agenda items.
on agenda? No? All right, now, for the good of the order, we'll start off with Mr. Green. And to Mr. Martin.
I'm good now.
Jay?
I'm good.
If you have concerns about street lights, please don't forget to bring the complaints to the county. And please, tomorrow there'll be a feature presentation, probably, maybe me, Wink News. I'm serious. You're laughing. I'm serious.
No,
On an update on street lights. All right?
You
What's
did a
going on?
great job with the street
No,
lights.
I wasn't laughing about
No,
it.
no, I know
What
you.
you said.
Wink News, I know. You
Okay.
like Fox.
I just wanna fix my statement about the blood drive, it'll be on the 11th.
January the 11th. Yes.
I also.
Be there and give your blood.
I also wish for us to think beyond the simplicity of just taxes. We need to think of the future for this community. We want to incorporate, at least many of us, I assume, on here do. And in order for that to happen, we need to assume these powers and assume responsibility for them. This MSBU is a way for us to do that, and it is a way for us to make it easier for us to incorporate. Whether it is on sidewalks, whether it is on roads, that's neither here nor there. As long as we talk about getting this done and actually getting it done, then we're just gonna continue going nowhere.
Thank you, Tyler. Hi, George.
I don't know, the meeting was good, and I'm glad we got a lot of conversation out here.
Okay, great. Jane?
I would like to bring up the Edison Festival of Lights Parade again. I would like to see the council be a part of it in partnership with Relay for Life. We have a new president. I would like to see him drive his truck with the sign, President of the Lehigh Community Council. And there is a $400 fee, and I would like our council to do with the community, anybody that want to volunteer and come and help, I would like to see us do a car wash at AutoZone for donations only. And I think we can really raise that money.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I'm going to the school board meeting tomorrow night, and I'm gonna
You
bring
taking
up,
Rolex with you?
I wanna bring up the new school they're gonna build on Griffin, their gateway. I went by there, I'm not a tree hugger.
Right.
I went by there, and that land was wiped out mile after mile after mile. I went to the Varsity Lakes meeting that they had about the plans of the new school. I looked at it, very nice, all right, you know, it's kinda like, they overkilled on it, but that's the way the school board works, you know, it's taxpayers' money, they don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, I go by there, not one freaking tree left. All those birds and animals wiped out, it's miles and miles. They just wiped that. God is going to punish them. honest to God, God will punish them for what they did to that property.
They actually, when they redo the buildings, when they put up a new building, it's in the infrastructure, they must replace so many trees, bushes, this, that, and the other. That's pretty standard nowadays, so
They ain't
even though
gonna,
they
they ain't
wiped all
gonna
it
put
out-
back what they wiped out there, I'll tell you that.
No,
It's
they
like
just
atomic
haven't
bomb,
allocated nothing.
atomic bomb went through there.
Okay, well,
Well, I recall discussion of increasing the number of members of the council to 12 to 20. Is that true? And are we still, is that still a goal?
12 is our base number. It's 12 to 21 currently. We originally had it, yeah, up to 40. Now, I do wish that we can reopen that. We did not motion to move forward on that. But we will in the future. As we get more people, we will have to.
Now, these are non-appointed members we're talking about.
Yes, not appointed members, elected members of the council.
It's going to increase almost double possibly.
Yes.
And I think it's important that the public know that and put the word out that we're encouraging people to step up and join the council so that we have broader range of
viewpoints,
input from people.
exactly. I relish, one of the new members that we're gonna be voting on next month is young. I relish the idea of having more young people on here. Us old people, we have set in our ways.
Both of them are young.
Be careful.
Thank you, Tiny.
Be careful.
I want,
So,
Be careful.
okay, so,
Friends of the council.
that's right.
You don't have to be a member of the council to be a friend of the council. $20 will get you to be a friend of the council. Or if you wanna have an organization, you can go higher.
I think we
and,
need to
and,
thank,
and you can go on the website, and there's a button you can click, and the Friends of the Council application comes right up.
I just wanna thank the Lee County Sheriff's Department staff for, being here every meeting,
And putting up
sitting
with us.
throughout meetings, listening to us. Thank you guys. You're wonderful. Thank you very much.
All right, Linda?
Well, I noticed on the back of the agendas today, whatever, it says to bring cans of food.
Thank you.
Right, and you know what? I
There's no
forget
chance.
almost every week.
And it seems like Bob and I remember every week.
Do you accept clothes for United Way for the people in the community? No?
It just says food donations for community services.
I think we can donate it directly to
And
them.
somebody said that's
I
our
brought
rent,
2 bags of
and I
clothes.
forget all the time. I'll make sure I bring
That's
something.
been saying, that's been saying.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a
Wait
motion
minute,
to
guys.
adjourn.
I wanted to invite, the chairperson from the Lee County School Board to come to our next meeting. I know people have questions about.
I'm sorry, but the next meeting, we're gonna have a fire commissioner.
You're gonna have the fireman, okay,
Yes.
so maybe in December?
Yeah,
That is
I
the
want-
December meeting. This is
Next,
the
Oh,
November.
January.
Wait a minute, you gotta hold up.
Okay.
January, we may have somebody very important that I
Okay.
sent a letter to. It's a very good possibility we're gonna have a lieutenant governor here.
Okay, so February.
Yes.
So
We'll discuss that as we get closer, but yes.
Well, I thought
Well,
I would correspond.
I'll tell you what,
So we at least need
in
to
this
have
group,
somebody lined up.
in this group, if you get Gwen Giddens here,
Yes, I
at
will
this
agree with
point,
you.
she's gonna get beat up.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
If she
No,
goes-
we need to, we need to bring them in.
if she goes down here, she ain't
All
gonna
right.
come.
Mr. Chair, before we adjourn,
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Here, who had made applications to be on the council, and they're right back here. Who are those 2 people?
There,
The young lady and the young lady back there.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Next month, definitely. Thank you all very much.
Go ahead.
there's one other lady back there that needs to be on this council.
Only one?
The song's back?
You know what? There's one other lady that needs to be on this council.
We should bring her.
No.
You see Cortez across from his office.
I remember seeing you, well, with Anderson and stuff on that. Oh, yeah, I remember seeing you very well.
I think we should bring the school. We should bring the school.